I went to a famous bird sanctuary once and saw these huge, expensive telephoto lenses in the hands of different photographers and assumed that wildlife photography is not for me. I thought that perhaps for me it is a never-ending journey. Happened to me when I was starting, and it was a mistake, clearly. I wasted a lot of time to make peace with that fact. But don't worry, you don't have to repeat those mistakes that I made, because I have for you a list of mistakes from when I was starting as a wildlife photographer. So listen and learn. Mistake number 1, blaming the gear. Okay, so I had a basic lens, 75 to 300, that too without IS. And I decided to explore wildlife photography with this guy. I had read about the DSLR, how they work, etc. Did my part of the research and decided to practice. So I went to a bird sanctuary and there I came across people with these big telephoto lenses and half of my confidence was dead. I thought that I can't be a wildlife photographer with this stuff. I need to buy good lenses first, good gear first, and then I will get good images. And those lenses, those gears were expensive. They are expensive. Perhaps wildlife photography is not for me, and all those thoughts started to come and I started spiraling. After that, whenever I used to click a bad picture, I used to blame my gear. And I developed this weird underconfidence that I even stopped trying for a while. I was like, let me collect enough money first and let's buy a big lens and then I will start learning. Don't do that. Don't stop your learning process and don't wait for the gear. A huge lens does not mean that you're a good photographer, and a small one certainly does not mean that you're a bad one. So trust me and work on the skill. The gear will follow. Mistake number 2, taking the basics lightly. To become a wildlife photographer, you need to be a photographer first. Now this one comes from the same mindset as blaming the gear. What happens is, what we think that perhaps only good gear can make us good photographers, and in the process we stop paying attention to the basics. Big mistake. The day you're able to click a good image from the camera that you already have, the one in your home right now, the one that comes out on you on holidays or in the free time, or maybe the camera in the device that you're holding right now, that day will be the step 1 in your journey. And that first step will come only when you know the fundamentals of photography. Learn those. Especially during these times when you cannot really step out, this is actually the perfect time to invest, to work on your basics. Study, do some research, watch videos, take short courses. Just invest your time in learning photography and honing the skill. That is important. Mistake number 3, clicking for social media. Been there, done that. Very bad idea. When you are in the field, please don't click with the mindset of posting your pictures on social media. Don't compose with the thought that perhaps this kind of image might go well on social media and hence I should click that. This will limit you and your growth a great deal. Click to tell a story, a complete image. Think of a composition which will attract you as a viewer, an image that you will obsess over. Don't be a photographer for others, you'll just waste your time. Be a photographer for yourself and be such a good photographer that people start developing a taste for your kind of images and not the other way around. Mistake number 4, showcasing record shots. Okay, so what is a record shot? Shots in which you wish to keep a record of that particular moment or species. It is not a creative representation of that particular scene, it is just a record of what happened. Now don't add those shots in your portfolio until and unless they are extremely unique. Think about the image independent from the moment. Is that image telling the story in the best way possible? Is it even good to be added in your portfolio? Put in a lot of thought before you finalize the images for your portfolio. It says a lot. And record shots are a big no. Mistake number 5, not being open to criticism. I know wildlife photography is physically taxing, but this does not mean that every shot needs to be good. There are times when we are lying on the road full of stones and rocks and whatnot. There are times when we are sitting next to some animal shit in a marshland. But this does not mean that all the images you click in that particular moment will be able to justify your effort. I know we feel bad when that effort goes to waste, but you need to be open to that fact that image can be totally crap no matter how difficult it was to capture that. And if your image is criticized, please don't feel sad about it. Be open to that criticism because it can actually help you improve a great deal. Mistake number 6, obsessing over post-processing. Don't do that. Just don't do that. In the beginning, we feel like all the work is done in the software and we don't have to pay attention to the field. It is not. If your highlights are blown, they are gone, you cannot recover them. If your subject is out of focus, the software cannot magically bring it into focus. If the details and the shadows are not there, you will only see a dirty black blob over there. If your image is full of noise reduction can only make it soft. It cannot bring the details back. So do not obsess over post-processing. I know it is important, but more important is paying attention to the mistakes that you did in the field in the raw image. Try to work on those. The post-processing obsession won't take you anywhere. Processing is like adding a garnish, and garnish cannot actually change the taste of the dish. It can only enhance it. But in order to enhance it, taste needs to be there in the first place. Mistake number 7, bumping ISO to play safe. Now this one is a super common one. I used to do it every time in the field. Bumping the ISO to crazy high levels to make up for the shutter speed I might need if the bird flies or the animal starts walking fast or starts running. Let's say I came across a bird sitting on the perch. Just to make sure I have enough shutter speed, I used to shoot it on a higher level of ISO because I had a camera which could easily go up to, let's say, 6400. Now, if your camera is good enough to not give you noise on such a high level of ISO, it does not mean that you have to shoot on that level, because prominent or not, high levels of ISO add noise. Now, you can be on a flagship body which can give you a very clean image on any level, but the image you shoot on a lower level of ISO will always be cleaner as compared to an image you click on a higher level of ISO in that same body. So pay attention in the field. Think that do you even need that much of shutter speed for that particular shot? Mistake number 8, going to a zoo for practice. That's not wildlife photography. Accept and agree that's not wildlife photography. If you're someone who has no national park around you and you cannot really go to a national park for whatever reasons, look for wildlife on the outskirts. Practice on birds, but please don't flatter yourself by clicking photos in a zoo and removing those cages and in some software and posting those images with all that confidence. That is not wildlife photography. Stop being lazy, pick up your camera and walk. Try to look for subjects on the outskirts of your city. Also, at the same time, be vigilant of your surroundings when you're doing that, because you need to take appropriate safety measures as well. But clicking in the zoo won't fetch you anything, so just go out and put some effort. Mistake number 9, running around with the camera. On my first trip to the bird sanctuary, I used to run behind the birds in order to capture close-ups. Like literally. There was a flock of pelicans swimming in the lake and they were circling around. I used to walk from one corner of that lake to another corner only to get a close-up of those pelicans. Now when I used to go from this corner to that one where they were visible, they used to come to this other side. And when I used to come to this other side, they used to fly to the other corner. Ultimately, they flew away and I missed the shots, and I never came across that big a flock of pelicans together till date. Lesson learned. Don't stalk your subjects. It won't work for you. Develop some patience, find a place where you can mount your tripod and sit. Wait, the subject will come, especially the birds. Once you gel into the surroundings, the subject will feel more comfortable and it will come, and it might even start with its regular behavior, which can actually give you some unique shots. So yes, it took time, but I managed to realize these mistakes, and not just these, there are like so many more. I mean, I can actually make a part 2 of this video. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. And if you have any other topic in mind related to photography, related to wildlife or wildlife photography, feel free to comment below and I would love to consider that topic for my next video.